A lot of people continuously use the Lord's name in vain to make empty and false promises and oaths that is not in alignment to God's will for your life, right? Using the Lord's name in vain to lie, deceive, manipulate people. And this is what Dodash continues to do. She's always in cooperation with the Most High, but she's not doing it in a righteous way. She's not doing it the correct way, because it's really for her own selfish benefit. She's only using God's name for her own benefit, to think that she has the best interest for other people, when in reality, she was never like this until she blew up on YouTube 6-7 months ago, when one of her videos talking about how the 9-to-5 is draining her, right? Talking about how the 9-to-5 job is not for her. One of those videos blew up, right? A lot of people could relate to that. You know, in a recent video, she's telling how a 9-to-5 never fulfilled her like YouTube did. But see, it's only that type of message. She's only going to say that as long as she is getting paid, as long as she is monetized, right? See, YouTube can fulfill people even if they're not getting paid. Because why? They're doing it from the heart. A lot of people do things not for money, but because they really enjoy what they do. Okay? It's their passion, it's their purpose. What you do for your purpose has nothing to do with money. Money is not the center of it. Money is part of it. Money is the end result, right? You got to get paid for what you do, right? But money is not the center of it all. Okay? With Dodash judging and really, examining her behavior, her belief in God is only rooted firmly in money and success, right? That's how far her belief in God will go. But after money and success, it stops there, right? Y'all can tell me if I'm lying. Y'all can tell me if I'm not on point with this, but this is what I'm seeing, right? This is what I'm looking at here. She's using the Lord's name in vain every single time, right? Saying that God put it on her heart to do $25 shout outs, to do $200 channel reviews, right? When does any YouTuber charge for shout outs? Like, if you're just going to shout out somebody, just shout them out. You don't just charge them money to get a shout out. When was the last time that a YouTuber ever did a channel review? Because I don't ever recall any other YouTuber doing channel reviews, for money. Or even at all. Right? YouTube is very unpredictable. I think we can all come to that conclusion that, it's up and down. It's like the stock market, right? It varies. Your pay can vary. If you're monetized, right, your videos can vary in terms of viewership, engagement, right? It's not always going to be the same numbers all the time. And she's trying to sell this notion that if you make videos every single day, you upload, you post, and you do a whole lot of clickbaiting, you are going to see the amount of numbers that she is seeing. You are going to make as much money as she is making, if not more. And that's a lie. That's a whole lie from the pits. Because at the end of the day, what works for somebody else, it may not work for other people. Okay, and who's to say that her success on YouTube is long term, right? Because her primary focus is on money, okay? And using her subscriber base to get a leg up, right? Well, the reason why she's really doing this is because her views are declining. She's not seeing the same amount of numbers, so she has to pivot. Her next thing is to do channel reviews, shout outs, selling $19 courses of information you can find yourself for free, things that you can do for yourself, okay? It doesn't require paying for a course to know what you're doing when it comes to creating a channel, creating a banner, uploading a thumbnail, right? How to title a video. It's like you'll get better with that as you go along, when you really know what your channel is really about and what the people want to see more of, right, in your videos. But the whole clickbait thing, man, it's really ran its course, okay? The clickbait titles and, the clickbait videos, it's really getting old. You know what I mean? And so this is what she's really teaching for everyone else to do, is just do a whole bunch of clickbait titles and videos. You may click on a video, the video title has nothing to do with what the person is talking about in the video. Okay? That's really clickbait. Okay? Because what that person is talking about in that video, it has nothing to do with the title. It has nothing to do with the topic. Okay? Now, what I'm looking at here is what it means taking the Lord's name in vain, what it refers to. It refers to using God's name in a disrespectful, careless, or irreverent way, which is considered a violation of the third commandment in the 10 commandments, right? The commandment, thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain. That's what it says in Exodus chapter 20, verse 7, okay? Means to avoid using God's name in a way that dishonors him, okay, or his character, right? Now, when it comes to using his name in vain, Dodash is primarily using it to think that she's being blessed with money and a whole lot of success. To think that God is only going to bless you with just money and success. And he's not a genie in a bottle, guys, okay? He's not someone that's going to give you the lottery ticket to life, okay? This is what some people think when they, think of God blessing somebody. Okay, that's a very foolish way to think of God's character, of how God, blesses people, and success and money have really nothing to do with it. Okay? He can provide you the funds that you need in order to get by, right? But that's not really the center or be all end all of what he blesses his people, what he blesses his children. Okay? He can bless you in a multitude of ways. Has nothing to do with funds all the time. But that is what she's going to make you believe, that God can only bless you through money and success. That is what you call prosperity gospel, prosperity teaching. Okay, that's what a prosperity gospel, prosperity teacher will sell to you, right? That God will bless you if you do this right, if you live your life obediently, right? You turn away from sin, he will bless you with a new car. He'll bless you with a new house. He'll bless you with all this money. He'll bless you with all the finer things in life. And to me, that's very misleading, okay? Like if you give your money to a pastor, you're tithing, okay? God will bless you with all these different things, and he'll give you what you really desire, what you want. See, it's not about getting what you want out of life. It's really about what you need. See, God knows what you need. You don't even have to say it. You don't even have to voice it to the Lord. He knows what you need. Okay? He knows at some point you need a companion. He knows at some point you need, a job. He knows at some point, you need wisdom. You need knowledge. You need understanding. Those are the things that you really do need the most, is the wisdom, the knowledge, the understanding. You need things that's going to really help you progress in your life. The right energy, the right people in your life. Okay? The right people to sharpen your iron. He knows that you need that. But she'll try to twist it into success and money. So if she wasn't blowing up on YouTube initially, she wouldn't be mentioning God in this type of way. Okay? That's her whole thing. Okay, so let's continue with, some examples of taking the Lord's name in vain, which also include using God's name as a swear word, right? Making empty or false oaths, acting, thinking, and speaking in a worldly or profane manner, misrepresenting Christ, which is what she's doing right now, is misrepresenting the Most High by saying to her audience that God used me to shout out every other YouTube channel, to review everyone's channel, okay? Either intentionally or through ignorance of the faith, okay? Now, someone's faith is only going to go so far, right? Because they're expecting the end result to be a lot of money, a lot of success. And then once they get that success and money, what happens to the person's faith? Their faith will no longer be the same, because their faith was only rooted in money and success. That's why I say with Dodash, her belief in God is rooted firmly in money and success. If she wasn't getting the initial success, or she wasn't getting the initial funds, right, being monetized, right? Because I do believe she was making a lot of money at one point with her YouTube success. But if you take away all those things, will she have the same amount of faith in the Lord? I guarantee you she won't, right? And that's the case with a lot of other people. Their faith will only go as far as money and success, okay? But once they don't see that happening in their life, they don't see that coming to fruition in their life, they give up. And they start getting angry at God and believe that God is ignoring their prayers, that God is ignoring their wants and needs, that God isn't really for them. They'll start believing the voice of the devil in their ear. They'll start giving into these vain imaginations that, oh, God doesn't really care about me. God doesn't love me. God wants me to suffer. He wants me to, he wants me to be, in poverty. He wants me to be struggling for the rest of my life. And that's simply not true. Okay? Because faith requires so much. You got to have the works of faith, man. You can't just pray for something to happen in your life, and when it doesn't happen on your timing, you pull away all your faith. You pull away your confidence in the Most High. Okay? You can't do that. everything is going to happen on God's timing when it's supposed to, accordingly. So, man, it's getting really out of hand when it comes to her using his name in vain to have y'all believe that, she's not using, but like just saying that God told her to do channel reviews and to do shout outs, right? Saying that's her purpose in life. But you got to think about it. Like, it's the end result of her getting paid, right? Of people paying her for reviews and a shout out. That's it. There's nothing that they get out of it. Okay? And I made a video a couple days ago or a week ago talking about if her shouting out these different YouTube content creators, smaller content creators, is it really helping their channel grow? Is it really helping them get their numbers up? Are they seeing the results of this shout out from Dodash? Okay, is the channel reviews on point? Are the channel reviews that she's given these other YouTubers, is it helping with them, with their content? Is it helping them see more numbers? Is it helping them with their growth and all that? You got to really question those things. Because if it's not, and these people are not seeing any growth, and these people are not being consistent, and they're not, taking this YouTube thing seriously, and it's like they're expecting a shout out, they're expecting a channel review, and this is also on their end as well, because they're expecting to get ahead with just one shout out. Someone can go to your channel based off the shout out, and they may never watch your videos. They can subscribe to your channel and never watch any of your videos. Why? Because honestly, that content creator only told them to watch your channel, to go subscribe, right? Well, mainly they told them to subscribe, not to watch your channel. See the difference? Subscribe to that person's channel because I told you to, because I have the influence to tell you to do that. But I did not give you the influence to go ahead and watch that person's content. You see the difference? No one's watching their videos, right? After that shout out, that initial gain of subscribers, that's it. The buck stops right there. So, the shout outs, the reviews, all that is nonsense. All that is a way for her to fill up her pockets, to flex on y'all when she goes on these luxurious vacations at the end of the day. This is not me hating. This is just me telling it like it is. Okay? This is me telling y'all the truth. So at the end of the day, y'all can take it or leave it. So with that being said, thank y'all for watching. Like and share the video. Subscribe for more transparent content. This is Solo Dolo Talks. I'm out, and salute.